What makes you hopeful that we can reach net zero emissions by 2050? Improvements in energy sources, such as more nuclear power plants and solar farms. More and more cities switching to electric or natural gas-powered buses. The increased awareness of climate change by millennials. Edit. I should also mention the amount of companies that are promising to operate zero-emission factories. That is also a big step towards zero emissions. Don't forget hydroelectricity. Water actually helps contribute a surprising amount towards clean, renewable energy. Hydroelectric production has stagnated recently due to a lack of locations to build dams. Damn. Said Amsterdam, we got to start pillaging some stuff. We can make a religion out of this. No wait, don't. How about I do anyway? The sun is a deadly laser. Not anymore, there's a blanket. Question, steal the spice trade. That wasn't a question, but the Dutch did it anyways. Question 1, can you cross North America on water? No, but at least there's beaver. China is whole again. r/unexpected billboards, Reddit link. Tidal energy is receiving some interest though. Yes. I believe Oregon State University just got permission to begin hydroelectricity ops off the coast. I'm super interested in this. It just seems like free energy movement. I wonder if the hurdle is the wear and tear from the salt. I learned this a few years ago, so it might be outdated, but an environmental engineering professor from my college did a study analyzing the best places to harvest tidal energy in the US, and his team found pretty much all the best places are already ports for shipping, and with 1, all the boats, and 2, regular dredging, it would be hard to install anything permanent. The best place in the world for tidal is the Bay of Fundy in Atlantic Canada. I can remember close to 10 years ago there was a trial run building undersea turbines embedded in the seafloor. All the knowledge of construction, their calculations etc. were over-engineered 10x to what they thought was structurally necessary. Within 48 hours, all the turbines were disintegrated and sucked out into the Atlantic. If I recall correctly, the best way to try it would require building the turbines on massive cargo ship-sized vessels and using a retarded amount of anchors. If a company like Emera could make something work, tidal power up here could pretty much electrify the entire northeastern seaboard. Yeah, sounds fun until you realize how the parts are protected against algae growth etc. How are they protected? Toxic paint that sloughs off into the water. Sloughs. And dams can have adverse effects on aquatic organisms, impacting their migrations. Some steps have been taken to mitigate this impact, but the impact is still present. Edit. OMG, this is my most upvoted comment ever on Reddit, by a huge margin. Thank you all so much. I grew up close to a hydroelectric plant built in the 80s, and the older locals have told me how the climate and the ecosystems were altered after they built it. I also remember a class at school where we discussed the impact such a big mass of water, is that how you say it in English? Can do to the local climate, considering how it absorbs and releases energy. But I suppose it's pretty safe compared to other energy sources. I guess it's a decently safe form of power next to something like coal, but when compared to nuclear, it's actually pretty dismal. Comparing the list of failed hydroelectric dams, and the resulting flooding and consequences, to the list of nuclear plant failures and associated consequences, it's clear that hydro isn't the best option, even discounting the initial environmental impact. Better than coal, though. Being near Niagara, I love hydropower, but you can't just beaver the world up and power the whole thing with it. It's nice, but really a little help more than a solution. Steelhead and salmon runs on the Columbia/Snake/Clearwater have been depressingly low for quite a while now, specifically because of hydroelectric dams. Hey, so I actually looked into this because I had the same doubts at one point. Large dams can certainly be problematic, but scaled down pretty much all downsides disappear. You can build a large number of smaller dams, with fish stairs, and still generate quite a bit of electricity without much drawback. The problem is the attitude of bigger is better and wanting to make it as efficient or cheap as possible. Hydroelectric is still very useful if we are willing to make some compromises. Crap, this makes so much sense, Why completely block off a river if we can just use its natural flow with less intrusive methods? Related to this, I've recently heard about a promising form of hydroelectric energy production focused on shorelines meant to catch the power from waves. It also wrecks downstream nutrient deposits. My hope is for clean modern nuclear, a ton of solar, and dams to be taken down and let rivers run free again. Part of the erosion issue on the Mississippi River Delta is because no silt gets deposited anymore because of the heavy damming and locking of the Mississippi. And it has completely decimated the Pacific salmon populations, specifically Chinook and steelhead, as well as other anadromous fish like sturgeon. The issue with hydro is that it's not very scalable. Like, I'm from Canada and we've basically maxed out the decent hydro sources we have. Hydro is the clear number one, but nuclear is a close second when it comes to no/low emissions and low-cost options. Well, unless you harness the world's highest tides in the Bay of Fundy. There is lots of energy to be harvested there, if we build a turbine that can withstand that power without being destroyed. They keep trying. If we figure it out someday, it could be an amazing source of energy. I live near the Bay of Fundy and this technology is very exciting. Only issue so far is most of the test turbines they have put underwater have broken from the sheer force of the tide. With the caveat of threatening the populations of marine animals found in them, such as salmon. Not just salmon but the entire ecosystems downstream and upstream. Building a dam floods the surrounding area, displacing not just people but animals as well. They are an environmental catastrophe. It can be remedied with the right adjustments to dam construction. Why you got to go cursing construction like that? Best take that dam attitude to a van down by the river. That dam construction. Every time, man, I swear. Right, we just need to keep the fish out of the damned river. Exactly, it's only a problem if the people building it don't give a damn. In many places, solar power is now the cheapest way to generate electricity. It's amazing how quickly costs have fallen. For all we can criticize China on, this one is actually a good thing from them. They invested a lot in silicon manufacturing with the aim of cornering the solar cell, not panel. Much of the integration of cells into panels is done in the US market, and it plummeted the cost of solar. Edit to add, the replies to this give some important context as well. China only deserves partial credit here. Many Chinese energy corporations have also invested in wind farms. Sea-based wind will probably be the largest energy source in the future. Unlike solar, you can harvest wind at any time and there's plenty of it out at sea where there are no elevation changes. Countries around the world are scaling back their nuclear in favor of natural gas, unfortunately. I have little hope. COVID shifting huge portions of the Western workforce away from the commute to work 5 days a week system will drastically reduce urban weekday carbon emissions. My company is sending everyone back into the office. All 5,000 employees, with a large portion of them having to commute around 2 hours to work. Despite them doing a survey on whether people prefer working from home or not, and 92% said they preferred working at home. Productivity went up, sickness went down, and we didn't have a high staff turnover, but they insist because relationships can't be built over Teams. Sounds like my previous job company. You need to come into the office every day. Me, 100% of the people I work with and communicate with don't work in the same building as me, so what's the difference between a Teams call from the office and a Teams call from home? Company culture. Hated this. That's why I left my old job, but I got a much worse one now. My nightmare, how much worse? Same here, I have some issues preventing me going to the office, and I was told that I might not be suitable to carry on at this position because we cannot get to know each other online. Edit, I should mention I started the role remotely and been working for the past couple of months just fine. I effing hate the white-collar atmosphere of needing to form a relationship. Like F. I'm here to work. I couldn't care less if you want to be friends or not. And it's bullcrap because they couldn't care less about you as a person either. They just like the opportunity to hover over your desk at any given time. Exactly, it's laughable as F. We can't get to know each other online, right? So when you have to let go of some employees, is our relationship going to come into play? No? Okay, let me stay the F home and work. Yeah, if personal bond is so important for the company, then it could be enough to have a weekly get-together meeting with some lunch and after-work activity or whatever. People don't need to be in the same space 9 to 5, 5 days a week. I'd be way more down for after-work drinks if I didn't spend the last 10 hours in an office around all those same people. At that point, I'd rather go home. But if I've been at home all day, at 5 p.m. I'd totally be willing to go out and see people. Post-COVID. And honestly, the idea that you can't get to know someone purely online is ridiculous. Millions of people have made lifelong friends and eventually families playing Morps and other internet games with strangers. Literally just did a raid with 20 friends. All of whom I've met online. Hopefully going to meet some of them in person after COVID restrictions. I have so many coworkers who are like, I miss being in the office and seeing you guys. Don't get me wrong, I like my coworkers, but I definitely don't miss the office. Not even a little. This does irk me. People saying, I miss interacting with people in the office. Well, fine, you work from the office. I'll stay home. The idea of dragging everyone back into the same old crafty routine to make your own life a bit nicer is selfish as hell. I definitely said things like this, but man, I meant I miss human connection and seeing other people. The anxiety I feel at the thought of going to spend 9 hours around other people on my feet wearing a mask all effing day, making me think I could just call in. At the start of every shift I could do without. Working from home was absolutely fine, and the conditions I'm working under in store now are just so much. Exactly, the company wants you to treat your relationship as family but with absolutely no reciprocation. Those entire floor managers are just scared as hell of the upper management finding out they're actually superfluous. It's all about control. I reckon it's a survival technique by all the middle managers who are at risk of being outed as absolutely useless. Absolutely. It's an open secret that middle managers have and always will be dead weight, but with COVID, the proof is right in your face. Then when you try to unionize, it's no, not like that. Edit, thanks for the award lol. I hate when work says we are a big family. Like, F no we are not. If I was off and found out the place was bombed by domestic terrorists, I'd feel bad for them, but I'd just go to unemployment and look for another job. We are not family. I do menial tasks for the boss. Boss gives me money. That is all. As a man, male culture is weird. I was raised to believe that you go to work, keep your head down, do your job, and go home. Now we have all these men complaining that they can't form proper relationships with me. What? I thought this was a business. Not a neighborhood social. I'll add that I'm even more sensitive than most men. I just don't trust the fake relationships you build in a business environment. You want to act like my friend but fire me the second it benefits you or you get the order? Get the F out of here with that crap. You're not my friend. Stop trying to sell me that lie and we'll get along much better. Nobody is friends until after quitting time. Some of my very close friendships were built exclusively online. That's such bad. It's become normal now, but when I first went online in 1999, having conversations with people I knew in real life, in person I mean, about my new friends from all over the world, I'd get strange looks. I met my wife online and people who'd ask the how'd you two meet questions would react strangely when told. That was ages ago. Now I've traveled the world, met people from all over, and it's the norm. Why some business owners still can't deal with that is frankly offensive. I'd call off of work so much less if I didn't have to go to the office. I can suffer through some ailments if I can stay at home and just get work done from there. But trying to pull myself through a workday while not feeling well is torture, not to mention unsafe for my coworkers. Explosive diarrhea isn't a big deal if you are 15 seconds away from your own bathroom. But asking companies to do the right thing is like asking the moon to cook you dinner. That's absolutely true. I can answer emails lying on the floor feeling like death. My company, with over 50,000 employees, basically said we will not only not return to the offices, but they also sold their offices. Win-win maybe? My company is doing the same. They're selling up their office spaces and combining offices with about 85% of the population working from home. In my office, We're going from owning 3 floors to just 1. I think this is the way to do it. In-person office space is useful, but 95% of the time, you can do your work from home. If there's a situation where you need to be in person with your team, you should be able to book a room in the much smaller office. I think this gets the best of both worlds while also solving the problem of commuting daily and having so many office buildings everywhere. Despite them doing a survey on whether people prefer working from home or not, and 92% said they preferred working at home. Thanks for your input. We've decided we don't care and are just going to do what the CEO stuck in the post from the 70s wanted to do anyway. Have a heavenly day. Trying to find hope in this thread because I don't have any. My knee-jerk was nothing, so I'm just posting in this hopeless thread with all you other pessimistic realists. Don't rule out extinction. Can't release emissions if we're all dead. Our species probably won't go extinct. There is no guarantee our current civilization survives though. One day the North Sentinelese are going to get off that island and be so effing confused by the fire everywhere. The ultimate long game civ win. Just stay in the ancient era amassing massive amounts of spearmen, and then wait for everyone else to go through the tech tree to get to the information age, nuke each other into oblivion while the climate deteriorates, and then swoop down on the survivors and overwhelm them with sheer numbers. The joke was that extinction is more likely than reaching zero emissions. Big companies finally turning towards green energy. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these companies are just greenwashing. That's all basically any of them are doing. None are actively making supply lines better, none are actively removing plastics, as evidenced by the fact that we're neither recycling plastic, and everything has plastic in its packaging now. None are pushing for real aggressive moves to deal with the problems at hand. It's almost all just marketing bullcrap. However, unfortunately most of them are lying about it or only doing it for marketing. I mean, I don't care what their motivation is as long as they do it. A lot of people that work for charities say that they would get 10% of what they currently make in donations if their donors weren't using it for the Big Hero Act. Even if it may be for selfish reasons, all that matters is that it happens. As long as the charity organization doesn't spend most of the charity money on admin and marketing. But that's just the thing, they aren't. It's really easy to pledge to source your beef from sustainable farms, but it's also as easy, and without consequence, to just not disclose where you source it from. Brazilian Amazon. Claim you're helping stop climate change. Convince consumers that purchasing your product helps stop climate change. Don't actually help stop climate change, or make symbolic contribution. Use money earned to lobby against policies meant to stop climate change. Royal Dutch Shell's approach. More or less every company's approach. Just stop expecting companies to do anything other than make money. Hasn't anyone read The Scorpion and the Frog? At this point, it has become a branding issue because it's something people have become very vocal about. Which is good. Regardless of the intention, genuine or for their brand appeal, green is good. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.